I was slouched in the old recliner we had, the only decent seat in our cramped living room, when my wife, Hannah, burst through the door. "They're bringing the Triad Challenge to Oregon next summer," she announced, eyes gleaming like she'd just won the lottery. "I'm signing up for the first race. Gotta push my training to the max. I'll be ready." I just blinked at her, stunned. She already worked out like a beast, dawn to dusk, no breaks. I couldn't wrap my head around why she'd upend our whole life for some race. Sure, I put in my hours at the shop, grinding away, but I didn't live for it like she did. Doubling her training for this triad thing? That'd mean twice the time, twice the chaos. Still, I shrugged and muttered, "All right, go for it." Thought to myself, let her chase this dream. That's when the cracks started showing. The costs piled up fast. Training fees, gear, supplements, our bank account was bleeding. A few months in, Hannah hit me with it. "I need a pro trainer," she said, casual as if she was ordering coffee. "There's this guy at the gym, ran the triad before. He's gonna coach me." Of course, he wasn't cheap. Guy charged more than a lawyer. First thing he did? Convinced her to ditch her job. Didn't even talk to me about it. Just strolled in one evening and said, "I quit today." Our savings took a nosedive. She had a solid bike already, top-notch, but this coach, Wade Corbin, said it wasn't good enough. So, we shelled out for a new one. Then another for race days. Then, hell, a backup bike. 3 bikes, costing more than my old pickup truck. I knew it was time to size up this Wade guy. His name was burned into my brain from signing his damn checks every week. I swung by the gym in Salem, Oregon, where they trained. There he was, hovering over Hannah while she bench pressed, his hands way too close for a coach. She grinned up at him like I didn't exist. I stood there, fuming, watching them move to some cable machine. She leaned against the wall, gripping the cables, and he stood so close I swear he was breathing down her neck. She pulled the cables once, twice, and I'd had enough. I marched over, heart pounding. Hannah was still yanking the cables, Wade practically glued to her side. I stopped inches away and snapped, "What's going on here?" They both jumped. Hannah spun around, her face a mask of fake surprise. "Mike, why are you here?" she stuttered. I cocked my head, giving a cold smirk. Thought it was time I met the guy who's all over my wife. Wade stuck out his hand like we were buddies. I ignored it, glaring. "Take some nerve, pal, putting your hands on a married woman." He puffed up, all gym rat bravado. "It's part of her training, man." I let out a bitter chuckle. "Training her curves, huh? That's the secret to winning?" Wade smirked, cocky as hell. I let the silence stretch, staring him down. "You're done. Step away from her. Hannah, grab your stuff. We're out." I turned and headed for the door. "Mike, wait," she yelled, her voice breaking. I kept walking. Got in my truck, drove back to our place in Marion County, and sat in the dark, stewing. The door slammed open an hour later, like a storm rolling in. "You're out of your damn mind." Hannah screamed, charging in. "You can't just fire him." I leaned back, cool as ice. "Already did. Show's over." She clenched her fists, face red. "You don't get it. He's the best. I need him to win." I barked a laugh. "Need him? Looked like you were ready to climb him right there in the gym." She flushed, furious. "That's disgusting. How dare you say that?" I stood, looming over her. "I saw it, Hannah. You were grinning at him like he was your high school crush." She jabbed a finger into my chest. "You don't trust me. That's your issue." "No," I shot back, "my issue is watching my wife fawn over some meathead while I'm paying for it. You want him? Pay him yourself. I'm done bankrolling your little gym fling." She crossed her arms, chin high. "I'll get a job. He's staying." I laughed, sharp and mean. "You think you're calling the shots here?" She smirked, smug. "I already am." I stepped closer, voice low. "How much does he mean to you?" She didn't flinch. "More than you do right now." That hit like a punch. I froze, then gave a slow, bitter smile. "Good to know." My voice dropped, cold as steel. "And me? Just the idiot paying for your fun with your gym buddy? You're my husband, she hissed, but you don't control me. I shook my head, chuckling darkly. No, Hannah, I don't. But I'm not gonna fund your games while you make me look like a fool. She glared, eyes like knives. I'm winning that Oregon race. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I echoed, voice icy. She nodded, defiant. I stared at her down, long and hard, then leaned in close. Hope it's worth it, sweetheart. When this triad nonsense is done, you'll be crossing that finish line alone. She held my gaze for a moment, then scoffed and stormed upstairs, like I was nothing. That was it. I knew she was already gone, not physically, but in every way that mattered. I sat there, dazed, for a minute. Then it clicked. I wasn't letting her bleed me dry for that prick Wade. I pulled up our bank accounts on my laptop and started locking things down. Heard enough stories to know you move fast or you're screwed. If she wanted to pay that guy to mess with her, she'd do it with her own cash, not mine. We had an old RV Outback, from the days we'd hit the road for weekends in the Cascades, her biking like a madwoman while I grilled steaks and sipped a cold one. Those days felt like a lifetime ago. I went upstairs. The shower was running, door shut, her voice muffled through it. See you tomorrow, she said. Tomorrow? That was all I needed to hear. I grabbed a duffel, stuffed it with clothes, papers, and a couple books. 2 trips to the RV, maybe 3 if I was sloppy. The shower was still going, she'd be in there forever, soaking after her training. I moved fast, hauled my stuff to the RV, and parked it behind the shop where I worked. Next morning, I told my boss, Gus, what was up? What's your next move? He asked. One day at a time, I said, which was code for I got no damn clue. That night, I rolled up to our place in Eugene, Oregon, ready to grab more of my stuff. Hannah was perched at the kitchen counter, munching on a salad like the world hadn't just cracked open. I brushed past her, heading straight for the spare room where I kept my papers and gear. She trailed behind, lingering in the doorway. Where'd you disappear last night? She asked, trying to sound chill, but her voice had an edge. The shop, I said, not looking up, shoving files into a box. What, you have Wade over to admire your biceps? Her eyes sharpened. That's not funny, Mike. I scoffed, tossing a book in harder than I meant to. Neither's seeing my wife cozying up to her trainer. That's not what happened, she shot back, voice tight. I turned, locking eyes with her. Sure as hell looked like it. She crossed her arms, that same icy, defiant stance. What are you even doing? What's it look like? I said, grabbing another stack of papers. I'm out. Her face tensed, lips thinning. Why? I stood tall, staring her down. You made it crystal clear last night who matters more. Her voice turned sharp, like she was scolding a kid. I told you, I need Wade to train for Oregon. I let out a short, bitter laugh. No other coach in the whole damn country could do it, huh? She lifted her chin. We click. He gets my goals. Oh, I bet he does, I said, voice dripping with disgust. I saw how you two click. Mike, he's not groping me, she snapped. I shook my head, slow and heavy. Didn't see you shoving him off, either. Silence hung thick. You and me, I said, voice low, we used to be a unit. She shifted, uneasy, then mumbled, we still could be. Just trust me. Give me a shot. I leaned against the wall, arms folded. You dropping Wade? She met my gaze, unflinching. No, I stood there a moment, letting that sink in, then grabbed the box and headed out. She followed, voice softer now. Where are you coming back? I stopped at the door, turning. That's on you, I said, flat. Ditch him, I stay. Keep him, I'm gone for good. No pause. He stays, she said, cold as stone. I stared at her, like I was seeing a stranger. Maybe I was. Took 3 trips to load my stuff into the truck. She stood there, arms crossed, not saying a word, just watching. On the last trip, she finally spoke. Where are you headed? I slammed the tailgate shut. No clue. Don't care. Where are you coming back? She asked again. I climbed into the truck, door creaking. We already went over that. I'm done. She raised her voice as I started the engine. Mike, you can't torch our marriage over a coach. I gave a bitter chuckle. And you can't torch a husband over some sweaty gym rat. I slammed the door so hard the truck rattled. I'd already split our cash and maxed out the joint cards. Her phone was probably cut off by now, I'd checked an hour ago. Bills were due soon, renter's insurance too. Her car was paid up for a few months, but she'd need a job quickly or she'd be in deep. I spotted her bikes in the garage, packed in cases that cost a fortune. I grabbed them, tossing them into the truck bed. She ran out, yelling, "What the hell, Mike? You can't just throw them in." "I paid for 'em," I said, hopping in and peeling out. She didn't give a damn about me leaving, just those bikes. Next morning, I swung by a park near the gym, knowing she'd be there. Through the trees, I saw her on a bench with Wade, her head down, tears streaming. He held her hands, all tender-like. Was she crying over us or those damn bikes? I didn't stick around to find out. The next day, I took off work and found a lot to park the RV, paid a month up front, got water and power hooked up. Later, I sat down with my parents in their Albany County kitchen and spilled everything. "You holding up?" Mom asked. "Need cash?" Dad offered. "I'm good," I said, and no. Hannah and I hadn't talked in weeks. Then my phone buzzed, an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It was her, saying she wanted to talk. I stared at the screen, then called back. Might as well rip the bandage off. She answered fast, voice sharp. "What do you want?" Like I was the problem. I kept cool. "Are you still with Wade?" A pause. "Yeah, I need him." I let the silence stretch, making her squirm, then said flatly, "All right, we're headed to divorce court." She gasped, all fake shock. "You're not serious." I smirked, though she couldn't see. "Dead serious." I didn't let up. "Have you hooked up with him yet?" Her voice broke. "How can you even ask that?" I snorted. "Easy. I saw how you look at him. Next step's obvious." "So, have you hooked up yet?" Nothing but silence. Then a click. She hung up. I tossed the phone on the seat, shaking my head. The next morning, my boss pulled me aside and said there was a gig at a warehouse in Missoula, Montana, if I was interested. I didn't hesitate, told him I'd take it. Packed up and left the next day. Stayed gone for 2 months. By the time I settled in, fall was fading fast, and Montana's winter was creeping up. That old RV wasn't gonna cut it in the cold, so I rented a small apartment in Missoula County, furnished it with second-hand stuff from a thrift store. After years of pinching pennies, the place felt like a mansion. By Thanksgiving, my folks were begging me to come back to Eugene for the holiday. I went, started eating real food again, steak, potatoes, none of that chia seed or spinach nonsense Hannah loved. It wasn't bad, just not me. The family gathering was solid. Nobody brought up Hannah. The day after Thanksgiving, I was gearing up to head back to Missoula. Had lunch with Mom and Dad, then stopped at a gas station on the edge of town. While filling up, I ran into an old friend, Corey, short for Cornelius. We got to chatting, and he dropped a bomb. Said he'd seen Hannah out with some jacked up dude. There was a greasy spoon next to the station, so we grabbed a booth and coffee. Over steaming mugs, Corey spilled it, it was Wade. Folks had spotted them at a strip mall, holding hands, making out in plain sight, like they didn't give a damn who saw. Corey's phone buzzed mid-story, his cousin, Silas, calling. They talked about a fishing trip for a bit, then Corey said, "Yo, you seen Hannah Larson lately?" "Yeah, Mike's wife." A pause. "Man, quit messing around," Corey snapped. Another pause. "All right, cool. I'm with Mike now. Might roll through." He hung up. "What's that about?" I asked, gut twisting. Corey leaned in, voice low. "You're not gonna believe this, man. Hannah and her gym buddy checked into Silas's motel. Been there a couple nights. Silas says they're out right now, probably grabbing food after hitting the gym." My blood boiled. We headed to the motel, Corey in his sedan, me in my truck. I parked in the shadows, far from the entrance. Silas, the owner, was a chill guy I knew from way back. He grinned when he saw me. "By the way, cameras are busted, even the outdoor ones. No footage." I raised an eyebrow. "Why are you working at a dive like this?" "I own it," Silas said, smirking. "Clear more cash than a fancy hotel." He leaned in. Hannah and that Wade guy? They roll through here weekly. He's married, and she's crashing with her folks since you lost the house. Mike, Hannah, Wade, girl's got a type. He chuckled. She says he's too scared to take her to his place. Too many nosy neighbors. He's splitting tomorrow 'cause his wife's back. Give us the key, Corey said. Silas didn't flinch, handed over a clunky metal key. We headed to their room, upstairs overlooking a gravel lot. It was clear what they'd been up to, clothes strewn everywhere. All right, Mike, Corey said. I'll snap pics outside. You handle inside. Silas won't catch heat for this? I asked. Corey laughed. Man, Silas knows too much dirt on everybody. Nobody's calling the cops. I unlocked the balcony door, then grabbed a ladder from Silas's maintenance shed, tall enough to reach the second floor. Set it up and waited. Half an hour later, Corey texted, "They're back." It was dark now. Their room lit up, curtains wide open. I crept up the ladder, phone ready, snapping shots as they peeled off their gym gear, oblivious. If they looked my way, I ducked. Hannah never skipped a shower. Sure enough, she headed to the bathroom, leaving the door cracked. I went to work. Grabbed their 2 gym bags and stuffed every piece of clothing I could find, shirts, jeans, socks, even their underwear. Snagged jackets off the door hook, tossed towels, and a rug over the balcony. I even slipped into the bathroom, swiping their toiletries while they yapped in the shower, voices muffled. Hauled it all to my truck. The folks in the room below saw me. I flashed a grin, made a heart with my hands, pointed upstairs, and mind tossing a key. They nodded, smirking, probably up to no good themselves. They wouldn't snitch. Back at the front desk, I dumped their bedding in a heap. Corey and Silas were cracking up. Silas had already printed Corey's pics. My phone was still processing mine when the desk phone rang. Silas answered, "Front desk." Pause. For real? Pause. Yeah, stairs are right there. Pause. Stay put. I'll send towels. Can't help with the clothes. Want me to call the cops? No? All right, towels it is. He hung up, grinning. They're stuck up there. We lost it, laughing so hard I could barely breathe. Stuck up there, funniest thing I heard all year, I said, wiping my eyes. Yo, can I deliver the towels? I asked. Silas shrugged, still chuckling. If you want. He grabbed a stack of raggedy towels from the back. I took them and marched upstairs. Their door was ajar. I kicked it once, loud. Room service. I barked. Wade's voice came through, shaky. I'll, get it. I shoved the door open, shoulder checking him as I stormed in. Didn't feel a lick of guilt. Hannah was on the bed, half covered in a sheet, eyes wide like a spooked animal. She yelped, yanking the sheet up. Wade stood there in his boxers, frozen, looking like a kid caught sneaking candy. I gave a slow, nasty grin. Well, damn, I said, loud enough to echo. Ain't this a picture? Hannah's mouth gaped, but nothing came out, just pure shock, like she couldn't believe I was there. I locked eyes with her. Guess you didn't get around to checking his pecs, huh? Guy's built like a soggy pretzel. Wade flushed, shifting awkwardly, but stayed quiet. Hannah's voice finally kicked in, high and frantic. Mike, hold on. This isn't what it looks like. I laughed, hard and mean, right in her face. Save it for someone with half a brain, Hannah. She clutched the sheet, voice cracking. We were just talking. I stepped closer, cutting her off. Talking? Why are you sitting there half naked? Part of his coaching plan, huh? Wade mumbled something incoherent. I whipped around, snarling, shut it. You're a ghost right now. He backed up, hands raised. I turned back to Hannah, voice cold as ice. Here's how it goes. I'm in town just long enough to file divorce papers. After that, you can chase this loser to Oregon or straight to hell. I'm done caring. She leaned forward, dragging the sheet, desperate. Mike, please. It was a mistake. I shook my head, smirking. Mistakes thinking I'd stick around for this circus. Just hear me out, Hannah pleaded, voice cracking. I shook my head, grinning wider, cold as ice. You picked your path. Deal with it. I grabbed the door handle, ready to bolt. She yelled after me, frantic. "Mike, you're tossing our whole life away." I glanced back, just once. "Nah, darlin'. You did that when you got cozy with your gym coach." Then I walked out, door slamming behind me. She kept blowing up my phone, leaving voicemails from the motel's landline since I'd swiped hers and Wade's. Her sob story? "You left me. I need him for support. First for training, now for her feelings," she claimed. I stuck around Eugene a few days to kick off the divorce papers. Took me 2 days to sort through the haul from their room. Found Wade's wallet, keys, phone, and some random junk. Also a little notebook with names, addresses, numbers. Hannah was rated a 5 out of 10. Silas told me later some guy showed up a few hours after I bounced, probably dropping off clothes. When they checked out, they were in baggy, cheap workout gear. Guess he brought Wade's spare car key too. That morning, I headed back to Missoula. Stopped by Wade's place first. His wife was home. I handed over his stuff, the junk, and printed copies of the pics Corey and I snapped, one showing them arm in arm at the motel. Didn't need to say much. She was glued to that notebook. At the last second, I tossed Hannah's crap at her. "Maybe give her a ring, see if she wants it back," I said, chuckling as I walked away. A couple hours into my drive, my phone rang. "Mike, it's Hannah," she said, all fake remorse. "I'm sorry you ended things. Can we talk? Oh, and bring my bikes back." "Those damn bikes again." "Too late," I said. "Donated them to a kids' charity in Missoula." "You jerk," she snapped. I hung up, smirking. Back in Missoula, my boss, who also ran the warehouse, threw a Christmas bash for the crew. I offered to sling drinks. The party was at his place, a bar set up fancier than most joints in town. By 8 p.m., the house was alive, folks laughing, music thumping. I was headed for the bathroom when someone slid a plate of ribs my way at the bar. "Eat something," she said. She'd stopped by a few times that night already. We'd been chatting on and off. "Thanks," I said, digging in. She pulled up a stool beside me. Most of the crowd was by the fire pit or dancing, so it was just us, shooting the breeze. "I'm Nora." "Nora Hadley," she said, smiling. "Been watching you. You don't seem too into the party vibe." I wiped my hands, shook hers. "Mike Larson," I said. "Bartenders catch the best gossip, you know?" I grinned. She laughed, bright and easy. "You at the warehouse?" she asked. "Yup," I said. "You?" "Nah," she said. "I'm a bookkeeper, live next door. They always invite me to these shindigs." "They throw a lot?" I asked. 3 or 4 a year," she said. "Some get wild." "This one?" I raised an eyebrow. "Tame," she said. "Christmas is chill. Wait till the Labor Day blowout." I nodded. "Boss seems decent." "He is," Nora said. "Calvin and June are good folks." I was still eating when someone hollered for a refill. Nora hopped behind the bar, pouring like a pro. "Thanks," I said. "You've done this before." She grinned. "Popped a few corks in my day." Our hosts, Calvin and June Baxter, were solid. Calvin ran the warehouse, plus a trucking outfit and a gravel pit. Took me under his wing, made me his right-hand guy. After I finished my plate, another coworker took over the bar. "Take a break," he said, nodding at Nora. "Dance with her." I tossed him my towel, gave Nora a mock bow. She curtsied, giggling. We hit the dance floor, staying close, real close, through 3 songs. After the last one, we stopped, just staring at each other. "Full disclosure," I said, catching my breath. "I'm married." She stepped back slightly. "She's here tonight?" "Nope," I said. "It's a long story. I can make it quick." "I'm listening," Nora said. We grabbed our drinks and headed to a quiet corner upstairs. She flopped onto a couch, patted the seat next to her. "Spill it," she said. I laid out the whole mess, Hannah, Wade, the motel stunt. When I got to swiping their clothes, Nora nearly choked on her drink, laughing so hard she slid off the cushion. "Oh my God," she gasped, catching her breath. "When's the divorce final?" "Filed after Thanksgiving," I said, sipping my beer. "Few months to go." Your turn, I said. What's your deal? Similar vibe, Nora said, leaning back. My ex didn't need a trainer to cheat. He had plenty of practice with baristas at the local coffee shop. Small town, someone always talks. That was over a year ago. How's divorce life? I asked. Still fresh, she said. 5 months out. Problem is, guys here divorced and think I'm up for anything. I chuckled. She had a spark, nobody's fool. We talked until June called out that the party was winding down. I walked Nora to her place next door. We shook hands, said goodnight. 2 days later, I marched into Calvin's office. I need Nora's number, I said. Can't give it without her okay, he said, but I'll pass yours along. Fair enough, I said. 3 days later, she called. We talked for hours. She gave me her number, and after that, we were on the phone constantly. Our first date was 2 days before Christmas, dinner, a little dancing, then I drove her home. She was headed to her parents for Christmas, I was flying solo in my apartment. On Christmas Eve, around 5:30 p.m., my buzzer went off. Hey, Nora said, grinning at the door. Got room for a guest? Hell yeah, I said, letting her in. She carried a basket, set it on the table, and unpacked a feast, roast beef, mashed potatoes, green beans, the works. Told my folks you were alone and hungry, she said. Mom sent enough for an army. Tell her she's a saint, I said. We made plates, ate, and talked nonstop. After dinner, we cleaned up, then crashed on the couch with hot cocoa, still yapping. I learned her ex ran the biggest auto shop in town. What's his name? I asked. She told me, and I grinned. I'd dealt with him, always thought he was all right. Married 3 years, Nora said. He's a good guy, still a friend, but a serial cheater. I don't play that game. Fair enough, I said. One last question, and tell me if I'm overstepping. How's a bookkeeper living next to the Baxters? She laughed. Grandparents owned half the county back in the day. Leave me the land. My place was the first one built, Nora said, leaning back on my couch. They used it as a model home. When the lot sold out, my grandparents handed me the keys. Generous grandparents, I said, sipping my cocoa. Where are they at now? Little farmstead in the Wyoming plains, she said. Just saw him today at my parents' place. It was after midnight when she decided to head out. I walked her to her car. A good 4 inches of snow had piled up. I frowned, worried. Are you sure you're good to drive? No sweat, Nora said, brushing off her windshield. Plows don't show up till it's 6 inches deep. I'll be fine. She put a hand on my shoulder, pulled me close, and kissed me. Merry Christmas, Mike. She said. I'll call when I get home if you want. I want, I said, kissing her back. That was pretty much our second date, and our first kiss. Our third date was New Year's Eve at her parents' house in Missoula County. Big bash, packed with people. I met her mom, dad, brother, sister, and their partners. Her grandparents were back in Wyoming, but at least 50 folks showed up, including my boss, Calvin, and his wife, June. Well, Mike, Calvin said, grinning wide, you must be doing something right to get an invite here. Hope so, Calvin, I said, chuckling. Call me Calvin off the clock, he said. And I'm June, his wife added with a warm smile. The night flew by. Nora was busy helping her folks, and every time I offered to pitch in, they waved me off, telling me to mingle. I did, thanks to Calvin and June introducing me to half the bigwigs in Missoula. One woman, Marla Hensley, stuck to me like a burr. I'm Marla, she said, flashing a big smile, handing me a drink or a plate of snacks every 10 minutes. After an hour, I was itching to shake her. Tried mixing with the crowd, but Marla was like a shadow, latching onto my arm. Finally, I had it. Gotta run, I told her, pulling free. I looked for Nora but couldn't spot her, so I found her mom. Thanks for everything. Night, I said, grabbing my jacket and heading out. Next morning, I was flipping bacon in my apartment, halfway through my second coffee, when my phone lit up. Nora. Happy New Year, I said, picking up. How was the party, she asked. Fun till your mom said you bailed. Kinda tanked after that. Why'd you split without a word? I asked. Blame Marla, Nora said, her voice light but sharp. She wouldn't leave me alone, and every time I looked for you, you were swamped pouring drinks or playing host. Marla had my arm in a vice grip, so I ditched. I grinned, hearing her tone soften. Marla's a pal, she added. I asked her to keep other women away from you. Well, she nailed it, I said. Nobody got close, but I didn't want her scaring you off. Anyway, Happy New Year. You too, Nora said. Be better if you were here. I'm cooking breakfast if you want to swing by. Wish I could, she said, but I promised my folks I'd watch the Rose Parade with them. We chatted a bit, set up dinner for 3 days later. The day before, I called to confirm. Sorry, Mike, she said, voice flat. Something came up. No reschedule, no details. That night, on my way home, I remembered I needed glue for a broken shelf. Stopped by a coffee shop near my place to grab a quick drink while I was out. Inside, I overheard Nora's ex, Travis Hadley, talking to some guy at a table. Yeah, she's warming up, Travis said, leaning in. Few more dates, we'll be back together. I messed up big time before, she didn't deserve it. Learn my lesson. Got dinner tomorrow, my birthday. After that, I'll know where we stand. Good luck, man, the other guy said. Let me know how it goes. Travis nodded. Will do. He spotted me, gave a wave. Yo, Mike, what's good? Just grabbing coffee, I said, keeping it cool. Need some glue, small tube, not a bucket. He laughed. Nobody buys the big ones anyway. We walked to the counter, he was grabbing a refill. I couldn't hold back. Heard you mention dinner, I said. Trying to patch things up? Hell yeah, Travis said, grinning. Working on getting my ex-wife back. Screwed up before, but I'm fixing it. Tomorrow's my birthday, talked her into dinner. She always made birthdays special, if you catch my drift. He laughed, winking. I didn't smile. She on board with getting back together? I asked, voice steady. Not sure, he said, shrugging. We're cool, go out sometimes, have good nights, if you know what I mean. Second time he said that, and I got the picture loud and clear. Yeah, I said, grabbing my coffee and glue. I think I do. I took my change and left. 2 nights later, after her ex's birthday dinner, Nora called me. Hey, she said, voice light. You holding up? Better than you'd guess, I said, leaning back in my chair. You good? Real good, she said, almost too cheery. Let me take a stab, I said, smirking. Dinner with your boy Travis went great, huh? A pause. Yeah, she said, cautious. I chuckled, low and sharp. Figured. Hold up, she snapped. How do you know it was with him? Who's talking? Doesn't matter, I said, cool as ice. Point is, you're cozying up with your ex, and he's feeling cocky. Told some guy a few more nice nights and you're back in his pocket. You're twisting it, Mike, she said, voice tight. It ain't like that. Oh yeah? I said. Then spell it out, darlin'. What's a nice night to you? Dinner, drinks, a twirl on the dance floor, or you just jumping straight to the birthday special? I paused, letting it sting. Heard you always made birthdays real memorable. You don't know squat, she said, heated. Nah, I shot back. Just talking, right? Bet those pillow chats are sweet when you're all tangled up. Dead silence. Goodbye, Mike, she said, flat. I stared at the silent phone, muttering to nobody, goodbye, Nora. The next 2 weeks at the warehouse were nuts, machines crapping out, short on hands, orders piling up. I was busier than a dog with 2 tails. Time blurred by. End of the month, Calvin and I grabbed lunch at a burger joint in Missoula County. We settled in, sipping coffee. So, Calvin said, leaning forward, what's the deal with you and Nora? She talks to June plenty. Thought you two were clicking. He paused. June says you accused Nora of hooking up with Travis. He shrugged. Not my business, but I took a swig of coffee, laid it out, Travis's big talk, Nora's non-denial. So, you didn't straight up accuse her, Calvin said. Just nudged it. Yup, I said. Like Travis nudged me. Problem is, she didn't shut it down. That's rough, Calvin said. He broke her once, he'll do it again. She's tough, though. She'll bounce back. Hope so, I said. We switched to work talk. He needed me in Seattle to score 2 more trucks for the gravel pit. My first trip to headquarters, I was pumped. Missoula's chilly, but Billings ain't exactly warm. I was stoked to escape the cold for a bit. Drove to Billings Airport, caught a flight to Seattle. Hated flying, 5th time ever. Afternoon flights out of Billings are brutal. 10 minutes of pure turbulence, then it leveled off, and we glided into Seattle. Nailed the deal for 2 trucks, not 'cause I'm charming, but the numbers added up. Calvin told me to swing by my folks' place in Eugene on the way back, so I did. Man, it felt good to soak in some warmth. Missoula was still a freezer. My parents bear hugged me, dragged me home. We talked all night, dodging any Hannah chatter. Only divorce news came from my lawyer. Hannah was still griping about her bikes, the ones I donated. Told myself I'd call him tomorrow. After dinner, I hit Corey up. We met at our old dive bar, knocked back a few beers. Word was, Hannah and Wade were holed up in a ratty trailer, scraping by on his training gigs. She wasn't working, unless you count begging for race sponsors. They even went on local news, pleading for cash to hit the Oregon Triad in April. But Corey, Silas, and some others made sure folks knew the truth. Hannah was still married, shacked up with her coach, cheating. Wade's wife hit the airwaves too, spilling her side without naming names. Everybody knew, though. Crazy thing? All that drama boosted Silas's motel business. Hannah scored one sponsor, her gym, but donations were a joke. Rumors swirled she'd gotten pregnant, had a procedure to keep training, but nobody had proof. Next day, I called my lawyer. Hearings in April, he said. Are you showing up? Probably not, I said. Cool, he said. I'll handle it. Morning after, I flew back to Billings. Morning flights are way smoother. Picked up my truck, headed home. The sky is clear, cold as hell. Stopped at a bar in Missoula, craving a burger and a decent beer. Walked in, scanning for a spot, and there was Nora, sitting with some dude, his back to me. Didn't need to guess, had to be Travis. She looked up, eyes locking with mine. I turned and walked out. Back home, I threw together a steak, popped a beer, wind screaming outside, ripping through at 60 miles per hour. Crawled into bed, thinking how nice it'd be to have someone close. Next morning, my apartment was toasty, windows frosted over. No way I was itching to hit the gravel pit. That afternoon, in Calvin's office, I debriefed on Seattle. Nice work on the trucks, he said. Didn't think we'd pull it off. You must have turned heads. Thanks, I said. Back at my desk, I tackled the mountain of paperwork waiting. That night, I hit the same bar, Nora or not. I needed real food and their stout, best in town. Ordered my burger, wrapped my hands around the pint glass, savoring the warmth. Mind if I sit? Nora's voice cut through. I didn't look up. Ain't there a dozen empty stools? Nope, she said, smug. Good, I said, eyes on my drink. If this one's so damn special, have at it. I grabbed my glass and jacket, moved to a corner booth. Glanced up, she was already heading out. Guess that stool wasn't so hot after all. My burger and beer tasted like ash after that. Next day, Calvin called me into his office. Sit, he said. I did. I'm in a bind, he said. Got the company president, 2 VPs, and their wives coming next week. They're stopping by before hitting Big Sky for skiing. I'm hosting a party. As my assistant, you're on the list. As June's friend, Nora's invited too. He gave me a look. Be smart to bring a date. Nora probably will. He paused. Are you catching my drift? Yeah, I said, jaw tight. How's this? Invite Nora and her ex. They're getting tight again, huh? I said, smirking at Calvin. I'll be busy fixing a busted loader at the gravel pit. Problem solved. Calvin shook his head, grinning. You're usually quick, Mike, but right now, you're dumber than a truck full of dirt. Party's at my place next Friday. Suit and tie. Bring a date. Now get to work. Suit and tie. Easy. Finding a date? Big damn issue. 10 days wasn't much time. I barely knew anyone in Missoula, let alone who was single. Calvin wasn't the only one in a bind. Days zipped by, and I was still dateless. Saturday afternoon, I was at my apartment, pulling leftover chili from the fridge, my specialty, always tweaking recipes. This batch was killer. Went to grab a beer, but the fridge was dead. No light, no Open and shut the door a few times, nothing. Checked the breaker box. Fridge circuit was tripped. Reset it, and it flipped again. Beer and chili, screwed. Threw on a jacket and headed to the hardware store. The good one was closed, odd for a Saturday, so I had to hit the one where Travis worked. Took a deep breath and walked in. Knew what I needed, grabbed a new breaker fast, and headed for the register. Of course, there was Travis, chatting up some guy. Looked closer, it was Nora's dad, recognizable by his thick beard, like he stepped out of a lumberjack ad. I hung back, ear on their talk. Good for you, Travis said. You don't deserve another chance, Nora's dad shot back. You messed up once, and we all think you'll do it again, especially Nora. Who's this new guy she's with? Travis asked. Nobody knows him, her dad said, sharp. None of your business. Leave her alone. They wrapped up, and her dad grabbed his bag and left without a glance. Travis turned, spotted me, flashed a grin. Yo, Mike, been a minute. How's it going? Not bad, I said, keeping it cool. Seems like every time I'm here, you're yapping about your love life. Ever talk anything else? He laughed. Small town, man. Not much else to talk about. So, how's your chase going? Still after Nora? I asked. Not great, he said, shrugging. She's seeing someone new. Nobody knows who. I thought back to that night at the bar, Nora with some dude. Maybe he's not local, I said. Gotta be, Travis said. I paid, headed home, swapped the breaker. Fridge hummed back to life, sweet sound. Heated my chili, popped 2 beers, and stared out at the snow piling up, wondering who Nora's mystery guy was. We weren't serious, just a few dates, but I liked her. Sunday morning, I hit the coffee shop near my place in Missoula County for a quick caffeine fix. Place was quiet, just a few early birds. I grabbed a corner table, scrolling my phone, when the door chimed. Looked up, Nora. I dropped my eyes to my screen, pretending to read. Heard her boots on the floor, getting closer. She slid into the chair across from me. We locked eyes for a beat. I wanted to bolt, but ditching my coffee wasn't happening, or so I told myself. She spoke first. I think we can help each other out, she said, voice steady. I raised an eyebrow. Help how? Calvin and June's party Friday, she said. We're both invited, and they're pushing for dates. How about we call a truce, go together, act like a couple to keep things smooth? I leaned back, mulling it over. What about Travis? I asked. She shrugged. What about him? Thought you two were patching things up, I said. Won't he flip seeing you with me? She rolled her eyes. Travis isn't the guy you bring to something like this, if you get me. Something about her tone made me feel a twinge for the guy. Hold up, I said. He was your husband for 3 years. You dragged him to fancy parties before. Now he's suddenly not good enough. That's harsh, Nora. So what? She snapped. You think I should go with Travis? I shrugged. I don't know. Maybe it's a shot to show he's changed. She gave me a hard stare, stood, and headed for the door. I sat there, feeling like a damn fool. She'd offered a peace deal, and I'd kicked it to the curb. I jumped up. Nora, wait. She paused, hand on the door, half turning. What, Mike? This better be good. My heart was pounding. Look, I don't know the whole deal with you and Travis. If I'm out of line, tell me to shut it. But here's the thing. I took a breath. My ex, Hannah, cheated on me. Travis cheated on you. I'm never going back to Hannah. She's probably shacked up with her gym coach, living the dream, I said, voice low. But Travis? He's still chasing you. I get why. After a few dates with you, Nora, I started falling hard. Then you bailed on our dinner, and I took it like a man. But when I heard you were cozying up with Travis again, I paused, feeling my neck heat up. I talked to him. He was bragging about winning you back, talking up memorable nights, especially his birthday. Then yesterday, I overheard him and your dad going at it about some new guy you're seeing. Your dad told him to back off, but Travis is still circling. So here I am, caught between your ex, some mystery dude, and that guy I saw you with at the bar. I shook my head. Now you want us to team up for a party? I wanted something real with you, Nora. I don't play games with no clear rules. We'd wandered back to the table in the coffee shop, sitting close. She reached out, took my hands. You meant it? About liking me more each time, she asked, voice soft. Hell yeah, I said, no hesitation. If there was no ex, no drama, you'd go to the party with me? In a second, she said, a smile breaking through. So, you picking me up, or we meeting there? I blinked, thrown. Huh. I'm done with Travis, she said, firm. Not now, not ever. Those nights after our divorce? Just fights over alimony. He tried every trick to dodge it. I want him to pay, even if I don't touch the money, it's about principle. I nodded, letting it sink in. And the dinner you canceled? She gave a dry laugh. I ditched it to make it clear to Travis we're through. I wasn't with him then, and I'm not now. Whatever he's hinting at is pure garbage. The guy at the bar? I asked. My dad, she said. We grab dinner monthly, like clockwork. I felt lighter, but then she dropped the bomb. And that new boyfriend from out of town, she said, smirking. That's you, genius. I spread the rumor to keep Travis off my back. I stared, dumbfounded. Any more dumb questions, she teased. Probably a dozen, I muttered. Ask Ann at dinner tonight, she said, squeezing my hand. Be at my place by 6:30. She kissed me quick, took a step, then spun back for a longer one. I really like kissing you, she said, grinning, before heading out. I stood there, watching her go, thinking two things. Life flips fast, and why the hell didn't I just talk to her weeks ago? We're such idiots sometimes. Dinner that night was unreal, food so good it could have been on a cooking show. The vibe? Damn near perfect. Would have been flawless if we'd ended up tangled in the sheets, but that didn't happen. Thursday, Calvin pulled me aside at the warehouse. Got a date for the party, he asked. I grinned. Locked in. He nodded. Good, 'cause word is Nora's bringing someone too. Just keep it cool, alright? We're good, I said, still smiling. Friday night, I pulled into Nora's driveway in Missoula County. The street was jammed, 2 limos parked at Calvin and June's, cars lining the curb. Big deal night. I rang her bell, and when she opened the door, my jaw dropped. She was in a little black dress, the kind every woman seems to have and looks killer in. Wow, I managed. She laughed, grabbed a shawl, and we headed next door. Calvin opened the door, and his eyes nearly popped when he saw us. You two together? Nora leaned in, kissed me slowly, deliberately. Calvin chuckled. Guess that's a yes. Inside, the place was alive, music, laughter, clinking glasses. Calvin introduced me as his assistant to some big shots and their wives. One exec even ribbed me about snagging those 2 trucks in Seattle. Check the numbers lately? I shot back. He laughed, said he had. Smooth night, great energy. By midnight, the fancy folks piled into their limos and rolled out. Just me, Nora, Calvin, and June left. Around 2 a.m., June admitted to Calvin she'd known about me and Nora all along, just wanted to see him squirm. We all cracked up, no bad blood. I walked Nora home, and we kissed on her porch, slow and sweet. She didn't invite me in, and I didn't expect it. A few days later, my lawyer called. Divorce hearings set for April 7th, he said. Are you showing this time? I'd been cagey before, but now? Yeah, I'll be there, I said. Things with Nora were heating up, but we hadn't crossed that line yet. I wasn't pushing, and she wasn't rushing. Come hearing day, I sat in the Missoula courthouse with my lawyer. Hannah didn't show, only her lawyer, looking nervous. The judge was ticked. Where's your client? He barked. In Oregon, Your Honor, the guy said, voice shaking. And why's that? She's competing in a triad challenge, he mumbled. A triathlon, the judge said, eyebrows up. The lawyer stammered some weak excuse. So, she picked a race over her divorce, the judge said, shaking his head. I can't speak to that, Your Honor, the lawyer said, sweating. The judge just shook his head, looking fed up. Well, I can speak to it, he said, and just like that, bam, divorce granted. Hannah got exactly what I left her, zilch. My lawyer shook my hand, grinning. Congrats, Mike. You're officially free in a few weeks. I spent a couple days back in Eugene with my family, soaking up the normalcy. While I was there, news hit the wires. Local woman, Hannah Larson, got disqualified at the Oregon Triad Challenge right after the swim. Dropped her towel in the transition zone, and her coach, Wade Corbin, picked it up. Big mistake, automatic DQ for outside help. Hannah lost it, screaming at Wade, even taking a swing at him. Cops had to cuff her on the spot. Word was, her bike was jacked up too, gears grinding, useless. She blamed Wade for that mess. Guy got banned for life from coaching or competing in any triad-sanctioned events. Someone caught her meltdown on video, and it went viral, half the internet laughing at her. After 2 years of killing herself, training, wrecking our marriage, and that whole affair, she placed 1,295th out of 1,300 and got herself arrested. Didn't need a better bike, just a better plan. A few days later, I flew back to Billings. Driving home to Missoula through a nasty snowstorm, I kept Nora in the loop about the divorce, Hannah's chaos, all of it. Pulled up to my apartment, grabbed my bag, and trudged to the door, fumbling for keys. Suddenly, someone tackled me, Nora, full-on bear hug, laughing like a kid. Easy, woman, let me breathe. I said, gasping. No way, she said, grinning wide. You're divorced now, right? Yeah, I said, catching my breath. Snuck up on me. After a week with Nora, I felt like I could write a book, call it The Art of Love, dedicate every page to her. She made my heart race, and I'd catch myself grinning like an idiot just being near her. We tied the knot a year later, perfect day, sunny, mountains sharp in the distance. Nothing like the wild Montana weather from the year before. Took some getting used to, but that day? Flawless. My whole family showed up. Right before the ceremony, Dad pulled me aside. Want to hear about Hannah? He asked. I shrugged. Not really, but you're gonna tell me anyway, huh? He smirked. You know about her Oregon freakout? After she swung at her coach, she did 6 months in county jail. Got out, came crawling back to Eugene. Nobody rolled out the red carpet, not even Wade. He's still at that gym, but just a regular trainer now, no fancy triad titles. Dad chuckled. Hannah went back to tech work, coding or something. Only thing she didn't botch. Quit training, though, except maybe for the county fair pie eating contest. He leaned in, grinning. Swear, son, she's gotta be carrying an extra 40 pounds now. I laughed. The world was turning just fine, and I was about to marry the woman of my dreams. Over that first year with Nora, we'd spot Travis around Missoula now and then, but we never talked. No point. Almost a year into our marriage, I needed sandpaper for a bookshelf I was fixing. Hit up the new big box home store that had crushed the local shops. Digging through the aisles, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Turned around, Travis. Hey, stranger, he said, acting like we were old pals. Yo, I said, keeping it short. How's life? He was wearing the store's logo vest. Are you working here now? I asked. Yup, he said, almost proud. Only gig in town. Pay decent, benefits solid. Good for you, I said. Got what I need, so I'm out. I started to leave, but he grabbed my arm lightly. Hang on, man. Just want to say thanks. For what? I asked, eyebrows raised. For doing me a solid, he said, smirking. Don't gotta pay alimony anymore. I gave a small shrug. Glad it worked out, I said, walking off. As I headed to the register, I couldn't help but grin, thinking, yeah, buddy, you're off the hook for payments. Me? I got the real prize.